I'm a real deal. I'll shoot your liver out and hand it to you.
Past 9 o'clock anymore, so I'm not a fan of that. But I suppose the match couldn't have got much better. I mean, maybe Oscar could have snuck out one more win or two more. I don't care.
Really? How about Hill going to 100?
Hill?
It almost was. I mean, that's as close as you get to Hill, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, without playing a race to 1, yeah.
What would your Fargo rate be if all you ever played was a race to 1?
I mean, as long as you have a large enough sample size, I bet it's going to get to exactly where it needs to be.
You think so?
I guess. Yeah, why not?
You'd be a champion, Nate.
Look, I'm the best player in my room right now. Yeah, I don't think my cats are in here. I think I'm safe. I think I'm the best player in my room right now. I might be the best. No, the cats are in the apartment. Never mind.
We have a value now on our cat. $2,500. That's it. We just stuck into our cat last week.
Are you going to get it back?
Well,
I mean, it'll pass the cat's home now. Eventually.
The cats don't like to have pills shoved down their throat.
Well,
they just for some. My cat purrs and tries to get away at the same.
Just out of curiosity, Rob, do you like having pills shoved down your throat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We know the answer. We know better.
Yeah. Your wife did tell me you're into some weird things, so I guess maybe, I don't know. What do I know, Rob?
She's giving away my secrets.
So Rob, we're all like passed out here because we were both. What time did that end last night? Was it about 3:15, 3:30, something like that, Mike?
Yeah, Central Time. It was pretty brutal when they, those damn Californians,
Oh my God!
And they got a little
midnight their time, right?
Yeah, and they got a little
tough action.
They were being pretty cautious there at the end, and checking their spots and everything. So
I've never seen us. I thought I was watching Johnny Archer in the '90s, watching Oscar play there.
Whoa.
Well, but he had to grind though.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
He had to grind because he wasn't gonna go and outshoot Omar. So he had to go and play smart whenever he could. But I mean, what a match though. I mean, Oscar should have had the lead going into day 3, right? I don't know if y'all saw the shot, but I know they posted it on. Yeah, the 10-ball scratch going 2 rails, dead in the bottom left, and it was a nasty little back cut. It looked like too.
Yeah, he overran position for it. It's like a nice. I mean, it's
What was he playing shape on the 11 ball or what?
No, well, he's got the right. He's got the 10 ball right here. He's got the 10 ball right here. He's got like the cue ball like right down here. He thin cuts it to this pocket.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Cue ball goes cross, boop, and it goes in pocket speed perfectly, just hard enough to get there with one more quarter turn and bloop.
Yeah. And a half a revolution less, that ball's sitting in the jaws.
Yeah.
But what I mean, listen, 100 to 98. Omar dominated for the most part, right? At the end, right? Because he kind of was just, just stay in the course, stay in the course, 5, 6.
Yeah. Go on.
Yeah, I mean, and then to have Oscar go and show some heart, man, which both those guys are class. Both those guys are fighters, are grinders, whatever cliche term you want to go and use. It's not the PC thing to go and say in this match. It's the real deal, right? Because they literally go out there and fought, and Omar, that last rack after Oscar tied up the 8 ball. And yeah, it was just played good, man. And Oscar, I only got to watch really the last day, but I heard he left a lot of balls and a lot of games on the table day 2 and day 1. So, but hey, that's pool, right? You got to go and finish the rack out. But
no,
both those guys haven't been playing much. So
I'm gonna play the fan here because I did not watch. So I'm gonna ask you some questions if I was a fan that didn't watch. Was there sometimes in the match where you felt a player had just mentally kind of not been there for a period of time?
Either one. I thought I saw that out of Omar once he got to 87. I mean, what I saw from Oscar, or what I saw from Omar when he turned 87, he looked really tight. He looked really scared, and he shot a 6-ball straight into the rail from about a diamond and a half out. He scratched on like a pretty elementary shot that he just like way over hit. And then he broke and scratched into the side pocket in a stretch of 3 out of 4 shots. And from there, I mean, that was when Oscar started making his run. And in fact, the really bad one was that scratch that he completely just overran it and scratched into the corner pocket, having no reason he should have ever been there. And Oscar had just ran out of a nice rack and broke and scratched and left Omar ball in hand with 7 wide open balls, and he ended up scratching on that 8-ball. And that's when Oscar started making his comeback. And I think he was up 87 to maybe it was 87 to 81 or 87 to 82, something like that. And next thing you know, it's tied up at 89. And Omar looks like he'd rather be anywhere else in the world than trying to grind out the last 11 racks. And he ended up catching it. I mean, he ended up finding his gear again. When you give somebody 45 minutes to an hour, eventually they're gonna find a way to get out of a mental slump like that, and that's what champions do. But I thought at that moment that was the only time that I really saw at any point in the match personally back and forth that either player was just, it looked like the moment was too big. I don't know, Mike. Maybe you saw something.
Well, like I said, I didn't get to watch a whole hell of a lot, but I got to watch a decent little chunk of the last day, and I just saw. I mean, you guys want to say they fight for their lives, right? It seemed like Oscar seemed like he was fighting more for pride, and where Omar was just, he had the lead, blew the lead, and was just trying to go and just get there at the end, and he did. Had it been a race to 105, who knows what who would have won, right? Because it seemed like they was just enough, But I don't know, man. Their breaks had times looked like the Shanes and Fedors of the world, and other times they were getting, kicked 2 rails, and
The Mikes and Neights of the world.
nerves definitely. Yeah, no doubt, right? No, I would have been 3 diamonds off. No, but it was just a fight, man. When you got one guy who is traveling, well, I mean, within reason because he's still overseas, but traveling around playing full time, and you got another guy who's a bar owner, a business owner, and who's a father to young girls, and that's his full-time gig, and every now and then he gets to go and play. Yeah. I mean, I'm not like, besides the line, I mean, Oscar wanted to win, man, and it's hard because I like both guys. It's harder to go and find someone to root for or root against, because they are both genuine, very, very genuine. But damn, I'm proud of him. I'm this morning because I didn't want to bug him last night, but I was real proud of him, real proud of his fight. I'd love to see them flip the coin again, it being that close. Let my boy get another couple of months worth of pool playing under his belt, And I mean, he bit off a lot. Like, the match with Omar was already set before championships, but damn, I mean, you go and still have that match with the guy who goes in, hotter than anybody on earth right now, and to go and be neck and neck like that, it just shows that he ain't done, and seasoning goes and plays a big part of it.
What's the
just
age?
let him get some more rust off his belt.
What's the age difference between the two? Omar,
I don't know.
Oscar.
I don't know how Oscar's 33, 34 maybe. Does that sound right?
He's about my age, yeah, about 34, 35, yeah.
So not a big difference there.
I have zero clue how old Omar is. I mean, he's got to be a little bit older. He's got to be right around the same age, I would think, because he's been around for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like he's 20. It's not like he's 23. No idea.
We were talking about this. I remember seeing Omar on the Texas Open. He had the most beat up black butt hell with a Z shaft or something, and now he's firing in with a awesome Mucci. Omar's 28, Rakesh says. So Yeah, he looks young, man.
Yeah, and Oscar's 7 years
But
older than
I
me,
don't know.
so
Okay,
he's
36.
36.
So it was so exciting, man. It was so exciting, and not just the money in the middle, but money on the rail, whether even or you got games or whatever. There was just a lot of aspects I saw guys who Omar that were rooting for Oscar just because of his fight. Like when Nate said, when it was like 87, 82, somewhere around there, I messaged or Dom was messaging me, and I was like, I don't know if he's gonna get to 90. Like it's tough to have one more push in you, right? Like you've
Yeah,
already been through so much throughout the last 3 days. It's easy to go and be like, I'm out of gas. I ain't got no more. But that's not Oscar. I'm sitting my ass home and I'm nervous. I'm like, it's 3 a.m. and my adrenaline's rushing. And I'm like, talking to myself, and that's just me sitting at home. Like, could you imagine when you're in the middle of it, playing 40,000 Oscars at home? All of his friends and his buddies are there. A lot of pool players are there watching. He knows a lot of world are watching. Like, they got my respect, man. They do.
yeah, it's pretty tough to keep it together for that long. I mean, to race 100 is a long freaking race, and to keep it together for that long and then still have enough in you to make that push, it's brutal. I mean, Oscar showed a lot of heart. I mean, I didn't have a horse either way. I didn't bet it, and I'm assuming I know you were opening up on the Omar side, but I have to or on the Oscar side, I'm assuming that you got enough games to cover two. I would like to think. So at that point in time, you're just
Yeah.
pulling for your boy. So that's pretty cool. And it looks like 36 is for Oscar and 28 is Omar. So, and we'll say hi to Ben, Brian, Gloria, Corey, and Rakesh as well. Thank you guys for tuning in. And I guess so. I don't. Did we even tell the score overall? It was 198. It was at one point in time 95-95, 96-96. I don't think it got 97-97. I think it went 98-96 and then 98-97 and then 99-96.
Oscar took the lead 97-96. Oscar takes the lead. And then I think Omar got to the hill
Got to
from there,
99, yeah. Okay.
99, 97. And then Oscar gets to 98. And then that little ticky on the one. And it was a kind of
Yeah.
similar shot the game before, I think, where Omar had sold out on the two ball. But Oscar just seemed like on that rack where he was just trying to, like, he didn't really know what to do because he couldn't go rail first, it seemed like, because he wasn't down enough. And so his instinct was to kind of like, I'm just gonna lock it up. But then it was like, oh shit, I got it back. And then he called the kick at the beginning, and then he ended up trying to just play a little ticky and sold out. And to Omar's credit, I mean, he had to go and get there. He had to go and open up the eight ball and develop it the way he did, which was just absolutely perfect and full of poise given the circumstances, right? Because you just blew a 5 game lead. You had a guy go and take the lead. You're on the hill. Like there's so many factors involved. I don't even care if you don't like pool. If you just watch any sport at all, go watch the last like from 87, 82 on, like from the last 15 games or so were
It's
just
pretty cool.
incredible because it's the ebbs and flows of sports is why I love watching sports. Because you can't go and recreate moments. Oscar made a killer jump shot somewhere in the mid '90s that was pretty clutch. He missed. He hung up a 5 ball that cost him 2 games. I mean, there was just so much, man, and the quality of the stream was great. I mean, just yeah, I really enjoyed it, man. I'm glad I didn't miss the ending of it.
Yeah, this morning when I woke up, I'm like, man, I wish I would have just went to sleep at 11 o'clock. And then now it's like, oh, well, that would have been stupid. That was such a, that's. I mean, so one of the discussions I do want to have it before we move on from this is, I mean, the only other match that I can think of that could be better than this one was obviously Shane and Dennis, and that was definitely a different flow. This was neck and neck. I think the largest lead I ever saw either player have was 7. I don't know if Oscar got up that high, but I know Omar got up to 7. So, I mean, that's literally back and forth. You win 3 games, I win 2. You win 4, I win 5. You win 2, I win 3. It's just back and forth, back and forth. What'd you think? I mean, how does this actually stack up to Shane versus Dennis?
But just by the score being the way
Well,
it was,
I
you know
mean-
it has to stack up close. I mean,
Yeah.
it just does. You see that score and you go, oh, this had to be just a battle the whole way. That's my first. When you told me the score today, I didn't know the score. I just went, whoa. That last 2 hours of this match just had to be thrilling, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. As thrilling a match at 3 a.m. as you can go and find, that's for sure. I mean, they don't have the billboard appeal like a Shane and Dennis, right? They don't have. I mean, they do have history, but it's different because it's not like that. You know, like Shane didn't like Dennis, for many years going into it, and you never had that with these guys. The last time, whenever they were playing years ago, Oscar spotting them the 8, and Omar went to, I think, the quarters of the World Championship that same year that Oscar spotting them the 8, but Omar right now is Vogue. Omar right now was just in the final of a World Championship that the entire world saw, so he's very, very hot right now in the eyes of fans and viewers, and so it's a lot to go and take a bite out of and expect to go and get there. But man, I wanted him to get there. I don't know. It's so tough. I probably would have been. I probably would have been saying the same thing like at Oscar won and Omar lost, because I got the same. Like I respect Omar the same way.
Yeah.
I'm not as close with Omar as I am with Oscar, but
I
it
wanted
was
to
just
see Hill and Backett and Jacket, so I didn't have to see someone lose.
yeah.
I mean, that's honestly what I was.
I hope
hoping
they
for.
play again. Yeah, I hope they go and play again. I hope my man goes and it's hard because, like I said, he's got, and I'm not trying to make an excuse for him, but look, man, if you got kids, you know how it is. If you got a small business in the middle of COVID, like God knows how difficult that is to go and deal with, and then you're trying to get back on track to being a professional pool player, because he still has like that fire. I was talking with Desiree, his wife, last night, and she was like, he never lost it. He just has different priorities now, and much respect to him, right? Because he's doing the responsible thing for his family, right? I mean, there's nothing bad you can go and say about it, but to go and like go through all the shit he's been through over the last, 18 months, he barely's hot back to go and be playing again, and you go and get to 98 against the guy who just got to the World Championship, who's playing as good as anybody right now. Come on, flip it. Let's go.
Absolutely, yeah. So I guess, is there anything else that we want to discuss as far as that event goes? I think
overall, Nate, I got a question about
the.
You said that they both had their times breaking good, some bad. Overall, what kind of a factor do you think the break was between these two guys, between Oscar and Omar? Who actually, can you say at the end of the day, broke the balls better? Neither?
To be honest with you, like, this is probably the first time that I can look at one of these big matchups and not point at the break and say this is the reason why this player won.
Okay.
Because they just completely outbroke the other one. I mean, the story with this match was missed balls and hung.
Okay.
Omar had to have missed the one ball. I bet if you counted up all the times, all the one balls he missed, I bet Omar missed about 10 one balls in this set. I mean, he missed so many one balls, and it kind of makes sense, right? Because if you break the balls and you don't make the one ball in the break, it's kind of a little bit of a crapshoot as to whether or not you're going to get a shot on the one. Chances are you're not going to get a great shot on the one. But I saw him miss some one balls that were, he's supposed to make those, and he would tell you that he's supposed to make those. But I think the story of this match was in missed balls and missed opportunities, overrunning positionings. The last game of day 2 is a perfect example. That's, if you look at it, that's a one-game swing where at Hill potentially. I mean, you can't. Obviously point at something, especially on day 2, and say this is the reason why somebody lost. That's a big. That 2-game swing. That's big.
It was a lot of especially at the end, it was a lot of costing you 3 or 4. Because Omar started to break like King Kong there after like a mistake from Oscar. He'd go and run that rack out. He would squat the cue ball and then end up, with the one ball like a diamond up on the bottom left, just dressed up, and so it did go and cost him. But those are haymakers, man. like those are knockout blows. You're done. And he wasn't. Like Oscar didn't go nowhere. He kept on fighting back when you would think like, okay, lay down. Like go
not
hell out
only
of here.
that.
Let him go and finish up.
Not only that, he was swinging haymakers right back where, Omar's supposed to lay down after that.
Yeah.
So I think it's man, it was awesome. It was a good match. I think the break played very little effect either way. Yeah, I mean, speaking of breaks, hello Fedor. Fedor, you need to work with these guys, help them out with their breaks.
Fedor said they both got 20. He said I'll spot him 20. Let's go.
Yeah, we saw him in there on day one trying to get winner. We saw it.
Do you think this is going to spur on Oscar's competitive spirit now down the road in the future, that he's going to be able to actually, this will get other players to want to go to his room and play him?
I don't think so. I mean, Mike, you know him better than I do, but I think it's going to end up being. He's just got too many things going on.
Okay, look at Fedor.
20 games.
No, hold on a second, because Oscar will go and he'll give you first class treatment. I know they were saying that the players were getting 80% of the stream. I can tell you that Oscar gave up a very big, if not all, of his side to Omar. That's the kind of guy he is. And if Oscar wins, if Oscar wins, Oscar's paying for his flight. Oscar's paying for his hotel. Wow. Oscar's giving him first class treatment because he knows how it is. He's been there. He's been that player. So, and not only that, but he'll make up on the sales from the business. So he's not selfish, and that's just that's the kind of guy that he is, like outside of just playing with him, and just super respectful. Look, I mean, Fedor was talking about Omar's character too, and they're both good guys, man. Like, and they both got a lot of talent. Omar's got a lot of firepower. Omar's exciting to go and watch. Oscar's lethal with the jump cue. I mean, there's so many things that just make it like really, really solid. Like really solid to go and just enjoy from a fan's perspective, whether you're betting on it or not. And it checked off all the boxes for me.
I got a question for you guys. So Fedor says, Omar's treating everybody, or Omar treats everybody super well, and we're talking about Oscar basically giving everybody the 5-star treatment, and everybody. Yeah, we knew what you meant, but I mean, Omar's the same way. Like, Omar's a super cool dude. Do we have anybody in the industry currently that is, for lack of a better term, a shithead? I mean, seriously, like if you look across the industry, if you look at all the people that are coming up that are in the industry now, is Albin the closest thing we have to a shithead? Is there anybody else? I mean, he's not really even a shithead, but
hell no.
No, I mean, do we have anybody?
No.
Like
Albin.
Who is our Earl in the 90s? Who is that guy that's just like? Do we have one of those at all? JB.
Rakesh. Oh man, I'm staying away from that shit. But Rakesh is right, 100%.
But like on the pro tour, the actual people that are touring,
I don't think Albin's
anybody. I don't think Albin is either. But I'm saying
compartmentalize like being emotional. Yeah, I mean, there's between being emotional and being an asshole. Because that's a completely different argument.
Yeah.
For me.
And I'm not saying Albin is. I don't think Albin is either. But he's the closest person that I can think to. That is there anybody else out there? Oh, well, Billy, but I don't think Billy is either. I think Billy had a moment, or he'll have moments, but I don't think
that was just a mistake.
I don't think match in, match out, like we have anybody now currently that is like that type of firebrand where like people just dread playing him because they're
you can ask a bunch of American fans what they going to think about filler. That might go and answer for you, and I don't think Josh is like that.
But I don't think Josh is like. I don't think Josh is disrespectful like that. I mean, he's very fiery, but I don't think he's not disrespectful.
Well, I mean, when you kiss a ball, when it's about to freeze up on it, like people may go and think like, you're pulling. But I do think a lot of it is for like that Mosconi kind of hype and persona, and because I don't think he's like that otherwise.
Fedor,
again,
tell us,
I don't.
Is
feel
there
that
anybody?
Way. I'm just saying, if you go and ask him, Fedor would know. But I mean, a lot of guys don't like to put anybody,
they don't want to put anybody
out there like that.
Nobody can match Earl.
Yeah,
Nobody.
No,
Hey, listen, there's a couple of one-pocket players that I know that like to go and pull little moves. A couple of one-pocket players that can go and just kind of just say a little thing under their breath to kind of get you going, to kind of just needle you a little bit.
I'll tell you something that I thought.
Love them or hate them,
in a national one-pocket championship tournament out in Vegas one year, I saw Chris Bartram was playing Earl. And Chris was up at the table, and it was kind of messed up, and all the balls were tight in the middle, and he's kind of jacking up, and he's just going to play safe here, right? He's not going to try a shot or nothing. Earl gets off of his chair, goes up to the table, stands right behind him while he's stroking. He has to. Chris had to turn around and make sure that stick didn't hit Earl in the head. And Chris goes, "What are you doing, Earl?" And he says, "Well, I'm just making sure you don't foul." And he says, "Well, let's go sit down." So Earl went and sat down. Chris gets back to the table, starts stroking the shot again. Earl jumped out of his chair and ran back right there, right behind him, and watched him, and he fouled. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's...
And I'm going, what? How can that even happen? I mean, much less a professional like that do that to another player. And it blew my mind. And I don't think... I have never seen that happen before in any pool tournament in my life.
I mean, that's it, right? I mean, there's no modern day Earl Strickland out there.
No, there isn't. I don't think there ever will be.
I can't think of anybody
never reached that level of competence.
So yeah, Fedor. I mean, that's the question: is there anybody out there in the industry that has a reputation for like just being really crappy, like disrespect? Yeah, that's funny, right? Disrespecting your opponents.
Maybe Mika.
Does Mika do that?
Mika?
Well, I mean, in this generation. I mean, Mika's not really this generation.
Sometimes.
Mika's not this generation.
No.
This is a tremendous story. I was at the Q Club in Vegas, and I'm over on a different table, and in the background I can hear the sound of a ball. Object ball hitting the back of a pocket and hard. And it makes a certain sound when you hit the center of the pocket. And I'd hear the cue ball hit, and then I'd hear the ball hit the back of the pocket. And I'd go, somebody is rifling balls in the hole. And I said, I got to see who this is. And I stopped what I was doing, and I went over to the table, and that was Mika. He was just playing 9-ball and with a couple of ladies. I think Kelly Fisher was there, and he would just, it was a beautiful sound. I went back to the table I was on. I said, Jeff, the guy I was playing with, just listen to this. You don't even have to go over there and watch. You can hear the click of the cue, and the ball hit the back of the pocket. It was a beautiful thing.
It's like a swoosh in basketball.
Yeah. You don't hear it.
There's plenty of guys that'll go and like, you just hit them with 4 or 5. I'm going to go and check the rack, just because I'm tired of you being in rhythm and I'm tired of sitting my ass down. And it may be a little bit of a move or a guy. We heard it after the Oklahoma tournament. I think Kevin Guimond was up something like 8-0 on Joey or something. And then just, they'll go and say it was moves or whatever. People complaining or the rolling of the eyes, but you got to be able to handle that shit mentally, man. I don't think it's an excuse, even if you're a shithead or not. You got to be able to you got to be able to process that, and just
my
go and let it go.
Player is still Luna.
Yeah, one ball up. Yeah, yo, listen, I was there. That little moment got.
What are you talking about?
What
are you talking about? That ball was on the third diamond. That ball was on the third diamond. That wasn't a one ball anywhere. That was a full diamond outside.
And Fedor is like a quiet guy. Like he's a really quiet guy, and he kind of just let it go. But as soon as it got brought up, he was like, "Hey, listen, you're above it. You're above it." And Jeff, and it was the funniest thing because all of a sudden, and Jeff will talk perfect English otherwise, but all of a sudden he couldn't understand no English as soon as they started talking about the spot.
That's
it was Sammy Sosa when he was in front of Congress about the steroid stuff. He all of a sudden forgot how to speak English. But no, okay. So Lance, I want to address this because I'm telling you what, if you've never been a streamer, that job sucks. So his comment basically saying, but Aaron Taylor's a different level of dude. With Aaron's pool parlor, he gave 80% of the money to the players. So
Nice.
yes, the players got 80% of the pay-per-views. But I'm telling you what, as somebody who's done streaming several times, you got to be there all the time. You literally are there for you got to be there 3 hours early setting up. You got to be there an hour afterwards tearing down. You got to be basically right there, because if anything goes wrong, you got to be the one to jump in there immediately and fix it. So you're basically working 14, 15 hours straight from 8 a.m. in the morning till sometimes 2 o'clock in the morning, getting these things done 2, 3 o'clock by the time you tear down. Streaming is shit. It is not good. I don't know any streamers that make $20,000, so I'm not really sure where that number's coming from. I don't know any streamers that make $20,000. I'll tell you what, if you got paid $20,000 for an event, I'd be going to every single event too. You're not making $20,000. Most of the time when you're doing these streams, you're trying to make $1,000 or $2,000. It's not good money. It's not. You got to really love it.
Well, I think that's why they're in it. They love it. They love pool. They love the players.
Yeah.
So they love the action.
I guess since Fedor's still here, maybe he's still here. Who knows? We can give Fedor his little ego trip for the day. Fedor is the winner of the very first Predator US 1 Billiards Tour stop in Arizona. And well, actually, Fedor, if you're still here, tell us what you thought about the format of this. I think let me give the places for everybody. I guess Fedor gets first place over Carlo Beato. I don't think there's a huge surprise there. I think those are the two best players in that tournament, for my money anyways. Eddie Geronimo gets and Roberto Gomez get third, fourth. Roland Garcia, Mika Immonen, Tyler Steyer, and Christina Tkech get fifth through eighth. And Corey Deuel, Omar Alshaheen, Alan Rosado, Ben Herbina, Blake Baker, Torsten Holman, Justin Martin, and Jesus Intencio get 9th through 16th. First place takes $12,000, second place $7,000, $4,000, $2,000, $800. Pretty good money, I would say. Events are $20 to $50 a piece, with sometimes up to $1K. I've seen a lot of the pay-per-view numbers. 1,000 viewers is a lot, a really, really, really lot. That is not what most of these are. So the one last night had about 110, and it was $20. So anyways, I'm not going to address that anymore. Let's talk about this. I guess any surprises in the tournament, we'll start out there.
No, man, people go and complain about the format, right? Players will go and say about the format's junk, but at the end of the day, you had Carlo Beato and Fedor in the finals. Tell me convince me they weren't the two best players in that field.
No.
Please.
Yeah, you can't.
I mean,
if you want to say anything,
everybody's going to have excuses.
If you want to say anything, there's players that theoretically could get hotter. Like I think with Tyler's break, maybe he can get hotter than one of those players for a match, but not for an entire tournament.
Yeah, it gives like the Nick DeLeons and the what's old boy's name that took Fedor to a shootout at the beginning. Golly, what's his name? The guy out of New York. I can't remember his damn name, but anyway, he took Fedor to. They both were at one set apiece and going to a shootout. So it gives everybody a puncher's chance that can go and run the table. And it helps keep that steam going because it's winter break and it's short race. But I really enjoyed it. I know the players complain. I like the shootout. I like the short race.
You're talking Michael
I really enjoyed the stream. Yeah, that guy. Yeah,
okay.
That guy. Yeah, he took Fedor to 1-1 going into a shootout and was doing pretty good in the shootout too, if I remember right.
It's a race to 4. Who can't?
But
who can't win in a race to 4?
Yeah, but doesn't that really magnify mistakes and magnify getting a game?
Yeah, I would agree.
I think
with that
adds to the excitement.
That goes both ways too. Fedor's not going to make a lot of mistakes, but if he does, Fedor. If you're going to play against Fedor, it's a lot easier to play 4 perfect games than it is to play 11 perfect games, right? Because Fedor, if you play a race to 11, Fedor is going to make maybe 2 mistakes the entire time. But both of those mistakes might be in the first 4 games if in a race to 4, right?
Yeah,
and
sure.
that might be enough. I'm not trying to argue it. I think you're right, but I think a race to 4.
I mean, as stone cold as he is, like, he's human. He'll tell you himself. He feels it. He just knows how. He just will go and fall back on his fundamentals when all that all that adrenaline gets going. Because he practices so hard. And he trains really hard for those whether it's those shots or those moments, whatever you call it. And that's a huge advantage. And what? This is what kind of pissed me off about it was that it's a race to 4. This is like Mosconi Cup training in its finest, and wanting all there was guys trying to make the team there. None of the top 4 players in the U.S. were there. That's crazy to me, man. Like that, I don't want to be negative about the whole event because it really was a great event, and I bet on Europe a lot. I do. I make no bones about it. I bet on Europe almost every year, or I mean, not almost every single year. But I mean, damn, how are you gonna go and have an event, $25,000 added in your country in the middle of the U.S. roughly, and a race to 4, all this pressure, and our guys aren't there? What am I missing?
Well, I talked to Shane about it. He doesn't like the format, and at the end of the day, I mean, how many American players made it into the final? I guess Tyler. Is Tyler the only person that made it into the final 16? I think. Am I right in saying that? Jesus Intencio. I mean, he's not.
I don't remember.
I mean, he's basically American at this point, but he's not really. I guess I think he lives here full time, right? Well,
hey, listen. If he could get if he could, he would make the team. I think he's got that kind of skill.
Well, I remember. No, he absolutely does. I reached out to Jesus, or I reached out to Carlos to ask if Jesus is trying to get American citizenship. It sounds like as of right now he's not, but I think he lives here full time, right? I don't think he doesn't tour like the other players.
Yeah, I talked to Carlos when we were in when I was in Oklahoma, I think, for Shane and Dennis.
Thank you, Mike. Corey was also in the top.
And
Corey and Tyler.
Yeah, but I mean, like, listen, those are
players in here that
like
I don't know.
Chris.
I don't really know who
Chris
Ben
wasn't even
Brock
there. Mike DeShane's there.
Chris was there. He just didn't. I don't think he made it. I think Chris was there. I think so.
I don't remember. I don't think he was. Now that I think about it, I could be mistaken, but I mean, but it's just, come on, man. Like, what? I mean, it's crazy to me. I don't understand a $25,000 added tournament. Yeah, it's a little. It may be a little gaffy, because of the format, but I like when we talked to Ozzy on the Booth Brothers, man. He was saying he's trying to go and get it for the fans, and the fans all had really good things to go and say. The fans really went and enjoyed the format.
It's exciting.
The fans like the shootout, But I'm saying, this is going to go and get you up to speed for the Mosconi Cup, man, because you're going to be playing a season for the next few months. Races to 4, constant pressure. Every mistake is magnified. Tell me that's not going to go and make you better for the Mosconi Cup. Explain to me how it's not.
Yeah. No,
what am I missing?
I agree with that.
I agree entirely. Yeah. Well, I guess we haven't even really said the format. The format, let's get it out there for people who didn't watch it. It's a race to 4, best 2 out of 3 sets. But if it goes to hill, you do what's called a shootout. And the shootout was basically a series of stop shots that get slightly harder. And the first person to make 4 of those shots, right, is the winner.
Yeah.
And the other person has a chance to tie.
Well, like,
yes,
he does. Yeah.
Second has a chance to tie that.
Yeah.
And then it's like sudden death after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's I don't know. It's like you said. I think the word that you said there was gaffy. I think it's super exciting for the fans, and it just reeks of. I mean, everything in this decision just reeks of trying to get it onto TV. Like that, when people ask me how could you possibly come up with that format, to me, it screams ESPN. It's short, it's exciting, and you have something that everybody can understand in the finals. You're just basically shooting shots back and forth and see who can make the fourth. It looks to me exactly like what you're trying to do to create something really short, fast-paced, and exciting for TV. That's what it says to me. I
personally would like to see, instead of like most of these spot shots from one side or the other in that shootout, I would like to see some really tough shots in there.
The answer to our question earlier about the shithead, Mike DeShane, I suppose. That's probably our best representation.
Well, how about this
Listen.
I've seen this guy, John Hennessy, in action in some tournaments, and I felt to myself,
another one.
Hey, I mean, he's kind of underneath the deck here, underneath the table, dealing from the backside of his hand. Sometimes I felt that it wasn't necessarily all that respectful, his behavior.
I think he's a different generation, though. I would say
he's more my generation for sure.
Yeah,
where that when I was playing pool and when I was younger, that was accepted. You didn't complain if somebody tried to shark you. It was part of the deal. And if you actually didn't do any sharking, you were an oddball.
I actually kind of like Lance's suggestion there. A game of pig, that'd be kind of funny.
No, but I mean, is there a difference between gamesmanship and sharking?
Well, I think
or is it just all
I think there is.
I mean, I don't know if we want to get back onto this discussion, but I think there's a sense of authenticity that is required to be a shithead. Like, there are some people that just game this. Like, I would say Jeffrey DeLuna. Jeffrey DeLuna does it to play games. He doesn't do it because that's just the way he is.
Jeff is a habitual line crosser. Like, whatever the line is, he's going to do his best to, like, cross that line until you go and check him. That's just the kind of person he is.
Yeah.
And then when you check him, he's plays dumb.
Yeah, that's not.
Well, that's why I'm saying that move. Yeah, that's why I don't think that his is. That's why I don't think that his is just the way that he is. Right? He's actually playing games. He's actually working. He's actually trying to. But I mean, there's people that you're just. It's a weird way to say it, but you're authentically a shithead. Like, it's just the way that you are. Like John McEnroe, I mean, he was just authentically a shithead. He wasn't trying to act that way. It's just the way that he was, right? It's just the way that he was, right? And I think Earl is the same way. I mean, when he's on the table, at least when he's competing, I mean, that's just the way that he is. He can't help the way that he is.
That's just in competition. Earl is not like that.
He's not. No, he's not. And Jeffrey DeLuna actually,
I saw
active. Well, anytime Earl gets around pool or in any sort of competitive situation, his anxiety goes up.
I was going to say, because I met Earl in South Dakota, and we were in the basement while he's signing autographs. You mean there wasn't a camera on him, and he was going stone cold off. Like, I mean, just everything I dreamed it would be, it was, and then more. Like it was. Yeah. But I mean, I don't know, man. I really enjoyed the format. Congrats to Fedor because he held his own against Carlo, who is probably 1A, 1B player in the Philippines with Anton.
Right. Yeah,
I think Carlo's one of the toughest gamblers in the Philippines. I think when it comes to rotation, he's a better player than Dennis is right now. That says a lot about Carlo. And Carlo is just built that way.
That's
and Fedor to his that he's better than Dennis? Pick the game. I like Carlo. 10 ball, 9 ball, don't matter. Nine on the spot.
Break. Nine ball. I don't know. I don't know. I think it'd be fun. How awesome would it? You'd never see it because the Filipinos don't play each other. But I think that'd be a fun match to watch. Dennis, it'd have to be 9 on the spot.
Well, I wouldn't want to go play with the template. Yeah, but I don't want to play with the template after that shit with chain. I don't want to see that. But with the triangle rack, I'd like to see it. I want to see more movement. But I mean, listen, you got a non-predator player going into a predator event, a guy who traveled across the world to go and compete and win it, was probably the favorite going into it because it is 10 ball in Fedor. And you basically go wire to wire, snap the thing off when you have expectations. And meanwhile, all the rest of, like I said, Team USA is just sitting their ass at home watching.
Yep.
So I know who I'll be betting on again this year.
Yeah, Mike. So the only reason we were talking about the shitheads in this game, I don't know if you were around earlier, but we basically said like of the new crop of players, the new generation of players, there doesn't exist any player like that, and we were having a discussion basically on is there one of those people out there?
Well, you
like
called
that?
it though, Jeff and Mike. Rob brought it up in Hennessy because he's kind of got that reputation too.
Yeah, but those are all like set. Jeff, I mean, Jeff is not. Jeff is what, maybe 30? No, he's sneaky old though, isn't he? Isn't Jeff like sneaky old, like upper 30s?
Yeah. He looks like he's 14, but he's really like probably almost 40 or around 40.
Yeah. But what we're really saying is like let's say 35 and younger, right? There, I don't know that there is one. I mean, Mike DeShane is sneaky old too. I mean, he looks like he's 14 too.
A jerk, you mean? Oh, man,
I mean, like
you got to play
John
ball.
McEnroe.
You got to go and check off all the boxes.
Yeah,
you got to. I mean, like they're not. I like the drama part of it. Like, see, I enjoy Albin giving emotion. I don't think that's Albin being a shithead though.
No,
I think that's just him being who he is, and just the sport is getting to him. Like he has expectations for himself that when he doesn't go and meet those expectations, he lets out his raw emotion. Yeah. But I don't think he's doing it to like get underneath your skin per se. That's just showing you who I am.
He's doing it to himself. He's not doing it to his opponent. A lot of the stuff that we're talking about from the previous generation was attacking your opponent more than yourself, or at least doing things bad enough that it can't help but affect your opponent, right? Having to walk over splinters of a shaft because you snapped it on the floor of the Moscone Cup.
We've all seen those clips though, man, of like Dennis Hatch sitting there in his chair, just kind of shaking his head and just throwing his hands up whenever he's sitting down. And
there was a lot of
his opponent was down on the shot. Yeah, I mean, like it all happens. I mean, like I said, there's a difference between like the part of the moment and the gamesmanship part as opposed to like just trying to do it just for the sake of trying to go and shark your opponents, But and I heard there was a little bit of that going on at the Predator. Not a lot, but I heard a little bit of it. Because on the side tables there really wasn't enough referees, so it was just they were able to kind of do their own thing, But I really enjoyed it. I hope they get more tables going. I like the commentary; it was great. The stream was kind of like a little choppy at times. I don't know if it was just my internet or what, but I'm looking forward to the next event. And kudos to
finish it.
No, I mean kudos to Predator and CSI for going and putting their money where their mouth is. They're introducing a new table. Here's like people want to go and complain about the racks and all this, and Predator's just out to go and make $1. You know what though? They're putting the money back into the game. And I haven't always been the biggest Predator fan. Ask them; they'll tell you. But they put their money where their mouth is, and that deserves respect, right? They're giving it back to the players. They may go and sponsor a lot of players, but they're giving them a chance to go and make something too. I heard this. I don't know if you were on there, Nate, or not, but I heard this comment that I say it a lot, man. When they were asking Kareem about Predator and all the players they go and sponsor, he had something that was just mind blowing to me that I really respected. Where he said, "Man, I hope we get to a point where one of my players comes to me and says, I can't wear a Predator patch because Nissan's paying me too much, or because this other big company's paying me too much. That's what I'm trying to go and get to." And I was like, you know what? I'm in. Sign me up. That deserves respect, man.
And Kareem is going to be joining the podcast hopefully next week, so we'll be hearing from Kareem himself, which will be good. Yeah. We'll get to hear all of the ideas they have going on. So I think that's good. Yeah, I mean, I guess to wrap up that discussion, I think I think the format I think that that format is going to change, and the only thing I think it's going to erase to maybe 5 or 6. They had plenty of time. The stream I think is going to get worked out, but I think it's really awkward watching one game and then seeing like this little ad thing come up where they just basically have the logo on there with some stuff. Like I don't see why you have to have the dead time be filled with nothing but a logo. I mean, I feel like you could continue talking or show videos like they do for the Matchroom stuff. I mean, there's enough out there. I gotta feel like there's got to be a better way to fill that void while they're racking the balls in. But I mean, that's stuff for the future. I think that this is a pretty good test run. It went smoothly for the most part. I know that there was a couple of dust ups. I think Mike Alshaheen threw a fit when he got knocked out or something like that.
He did.
I don't know exactly what happened there, but in fact, I didn't really even care. I could have looked into it, but I just didn't care.
He complained about the hold on a second. He complained about the format beforehand because we had him on the show on the other show, right? On the Booth Brothers. He complains about the format, right? And Ozzy's there, mind you, on the same show at the same time. So he complains about the format, then shows up and continues to bitch about the format once he's out. Corey's online complaining about the format, but yet, listen, it wasn't like this was under wraps and then they surprised everybody at the end whenever you got there, right? After you go and book your hotel and book your flight, right? Everybody knew what they were getting into. But once you lose, you kind of get a little salty and it's everybody else's fault. I mean, show some ownership, boys.
Yeah.
Take some
don't play.
Take some responsibility.
Shane didn't like the format. He didn't play.
Hello.
Sky didn't like the format. He didn't play. So.
If you show up, you got to own it. That's it.
I mean, it is what it is. So, I guess, is there anything else that we want to discuss as far as that event before we move on?
Well, hold on. I want to just circle back to that topic I brought up. Do you think that because Jeremy was there, do you think he goes and gives those guys who were there more of a better look? The Danny Olsons of the world and, players of that caliber? Because I like Danny's game. Tyler was there. I like Tyler's game too, and he's got experience. Do you like if you're not playing, if you don't play, how do you get a look?
Tyler won't be
is
playing.
It just going to be this? Well, but that's a whole. I mean, yeah.
No, I'm not. Tyler will not be playing. I'm just I mean, that's so. As far as Danny, I think Danny deserves a good look. Why wouldn't he? I think. Does it help?
But he should. I mean, but Tyler should though. Well, me and you were kind of have an idea as to why. But we're on the same. But listen, the kid's doing the right things, man. The kid's all over the place with juniors. He's a great role model. Works his ass off. Probably the hardest working American player right now today is Tyler Steyer.
Not a doubt. Not close.
Danny's stock is on the rise. But I'm just saying, how is this shit gonna go and continue? Where is it just you're gonna go and fall back on you being on the matchroom stage more, and they're gonna go and get in, or is it really gonna be fair for all the rest of these guys that are here in the States?
Well, let me ask you.
What do you think, Nate? What do you think?
Yeah, let me ask you a question back to that. So you're basically saying should these players that show up to all these events, should they get a better look than? And you didn't say this, but theoretically, than somebody who didn't, right? So the people who didn't, let's name them. We have Shane. He's already been named. Sky, good luck putting together any U.S. team without Sky in the next 15 years. Billy, can you make a team without Billy at this point?
Yep.
Maybe. And Justin, can you make a team without Justin? So really, I mean, does this give you a leg up on the rest? So does showing up to this event, does that give you a leg up for Jeremy to look at you more? So now that there's 3 people basically vying for the last spot, should they get precedent over somebody like a Chris Reinhold that didn't show up? Is that kind of what you're asking? Because the other
what kind of example are you set? What are you setting an example for the kids that are coming up? Right? Do you got to play or don't you?
Yeah, I mean,
or do you just got to go and make the right moves at times and then go and just fall back on it? I mean, don't get me wrong. Those guys are probably the best players in the country right now. I think those 4 spots are as good as locked up as you can go and get, for my money. I think I really do think there's only one spot available, but
that's what I'm saying.
That discussion has to be had though, man. If you're as great as Bergman is, and Bergman's phenomenal, right? You saw him just go and just play Fedor there at the Players Club at Brendan's place, right? I mean, tore him up in one pocket, held his own in 9-ball. It was a great match, So, I mean, he's obviously a top-tier player, but if you ain't leaving St. Louis, then what are we doing? What the hell are we doing? These guys these kids are putting their money where their mouth is, traveling the country, just to hope that they go and snap it off to go and get a look.
But this is the struggle. This is the struggle with U.S. Pool, right? Because if Justin Bergman, instead of living in St. Louis, he lived in Warsaw, Poland, and he did what he's doing right now, I don't care if he's an 850 Fargo. Guess who would not be making the European Mosconi Cup team? Justin Bergman. The point is who else do you pick, right? I mean, we're in the U.S. and we have.
I mean, none of them would. I don't think any of them do. I mean,
Shane.
besides Shane, I don't think any of them would.
Maybe.
You
I
know?
mean, Sky would have a
But
run.
I mean, Shane was
Sky,
kind of.
Sky could have a run at it.
Yeah, Scott can. Yeah,
He's not guaranteed.
I saw
but
Shane go
he
and
could
say
have a
that the
run at
U.S.
it.
needs more of a. Yeah, I heard Shane go and say they need more of a proper tournament, like the Euro Tour, you know. But I mean, you got to go. I mean, listen, Predator is one of the main companies going and putting their money back out there when it comes to tournaments, you know. So I get it to an extent, but it's like, damn, man, you can't want shit to go and get better if you ain't going and stepping out there and supporting as well, right? Especially if you're a big name, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys are big names, and you're in the U.S. I don't see an excuse personally, you know.
Yeah.
But if there's no accountability from the ones who are making the decisions, then they're going to do whatever the hell they want to, and we'll see you in December, you know. And believe me, those other guys, Shaw wasn't even at home, and he's snapping off a GB9 event out in Europe, so he's not even at his home place, and he's over there, you know,
He's
competing.
full-time in Connecticut.
While the rest of these guys got an
full-time in
opportunity.
Connecticut.
Yeah. But I'm saying while the American players, they got a chance to go and compete and get ready, get built up, man, get strong for those moments. Because I mean, I guarantee you, it'll go and make them a lot tougher come December if they were to go and play it.
No,
Yeah,
I'm done.
I
Man.
think
Sorry.
that the players that showed up for these tournaments, that do go and make an effort, yeah, they need to get a look. There's no question about it. Versus the players that don't go and show up, but they think they are a lock. The Danny Olsons of the world, yeah, definitely. You know, they do need to get a look just for being there, for making that effort.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think I guess I would love to say yes to your statement, Mike. I really would. I would love to see Danny get a better look and Tyler a better look. But at the end of the day, they're all vying for the same exact spot. I mean, the rest of those four. I mean, I think Billy theoretically could be malleable. He doesn't have to make the team as far as quality wise. I think he's deserving. I think he's fit nicely into the fourth spot. But I don't think that Billy has to make it every single year, especially if he's in a little bit of a rut, or maybe he's just not playing leading up to December or something like that. But they're really out competing for one spot. And should they get a better look because JJ sees them there? Probably. But
well, after what Oscar just did, you can't leave him out of the conversation. I don't think at all. I mean,
go and preach to him, Rob.
I'm not arguing.
Preach to him, Rob. Let him know.
Jeremy Stosi and Oscar Dominguez. I mean, there's a couple right there. Stars.
Yeah.
Listen, it don't matter because at the end of the day, you can't have no more 11-4s going on or whatever it is, 9-4 or whatever the hell the score is. That ain't gonna go and last very long. So you're $15,000, a $15,000 paycheck. You got to go and compete to go and keep that secured for the next 5 years. Is it not? Something's going to go and change. I guarantee you. Something will go and give. Yeah. So, but it starts at the top, right?
Ton. Yeah.
Lance is right, though. We said.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a little bit more forgiving, maybe. I don't know. If Corey makes a team based on what he accomplished 10 years ago, put Earl back on the team. I agree. I mean, the question was, should Corey get a look? And no, I think Corey's ship is personally. I think Corey's ship is sailed. He's not touring like he was, and I mean, his game has dropped off quite a bit. And I shouldn't say quite a bit because actually in regular tournaments he actually does okay. But under those lights, under that action, we haven't seen Corey play at a top gear for a long time.
Yeah.
It hasn't been like last year he played good. I mean, it's been 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah.
Where you can even
moderately.
This is what makes the Europeans so dangerous. Like, find me a guy whose spot is secure. I think Filler, but aside from that, maybe
Filler didn't play
Fedor.
2 years ago.
But I mean, like, you don't think he's a lock this year, no matter what? I do.
Yeah.
I think he'll get him.
I mean,
I think he's a lock.
I think he's a lock, but I also would have thought he was a lock 2 years ago and he didn't get it. So
But that's what I mean. Like, it keeps those guys on their heels. It keeps them where you gotta go and perform. I think like there ain't no popularity contest going on in Europe. You have to go and keep on going.
Yeah, it's
I think
performance-based for
you know,
sure.
I think actually the only player that's actually secure is Jason. I think he's the only person that's a guaranteed lock for the European side.
Mm.
And I only say that because he's the
I think
MVP.
Jason and Josh.
I think he's the I think Jason over Josh. I mean, we're splitting hairs here, but I think Jason is kind of like the dad of the team now. He's kind of taken on the role where he's like he's the unofficial leader.
He's Darren Appleton.
Fire of the team. He's the energy.
No, he's not the energy anymore. Josh is now, and I think that's why he's a lock. He's not there for his energy anymore. He's there from what I.
Okay, attitude. I'll say attitude then.
Yeah, from the outside looking in, it looks to be his leadership. He's kind of the dude's only 30, 32, maybe 33, but he's like the dad on the team now. He's like the residential old guy.
But if there's big shots to go and take on that team, who would you rather have? Him,
Albin,
Filler, Kazakis, Fedor, Albin? I mean, like, who do you want taking that shot?
All of the above.
on a big shot? Okay, that's fair. Because Albin is made for big moments for sure.
I want Albin in that spot.
You can't argue with results. But I'm saying between them, Albin has to be a lock. He's a world champion. He has to be.
Yeah, I would say.
Right? Yeah, he is now. Yeah, he is now.
There's no way. He won the CLP, he wins the world title. I mean, yeah, that guy's in for sure.
So now we're getting to the point where we have 3 locks, and how are you going to keep Fedor off? Right?
No, you can't.
We're talking like. So now, we're in the same exact spot as we are in the U.S. We basically have 4 lock players.
Alex is in a good spot too. Kazakis is in a real good spot because he won the Masters.
And Kachi is,
he's
keep naming them off.
And now we're not even talking about
to pick from.
Yeah, we're not even talking about like David Al-Qaeda. I mean, the year that David Al-Qaeda's had, he's up there in every single one of these tournaments. Like David Al-Qaeda's in a good spot. We're not even talking about Mario. Max Leshner, he's been playing phenomenal pool. Like Lanti Kachi.
Oh, Max playing solid.
Max is playing really good.
But here's the thing, is that they're playing. They are playing pool competitively. They're not sitting their asses at home.
Or playing on a stream, giving up 17-3 playing one pocket for 10,000 on Twitch, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not dogging on Justin. I'm not dogging on Justin. I mean, the idea is if the only time we see you play is on Twitch, I mean, that's my point. So, I mean, is there? I mean, it seems like we always end up in a Mosconi Cup discussion somehow, right? But are we good there? Are we happy with that?
I can go on for another hour, but I think it's good. It's a good stop point.
I do have a shout out.
Well, I want to give a shout out to the kids too, for the kiddos for BEF, because we got to talk about them too. I mean, this is the next generation. I want to give them. So let me go through this, Rob, and then we'll talk a little bit about that. Okay. So let's start out in the 14 and under girls. Haley Marion gets first place, double dips Skylar Hess, and third place goes to Bethany Tate, and fourth place goes to Sophia Mass. So good for the kids. We'll go to the 16 and under girls. Kennedy Mayman gets first place over Ellie Gonzalez. Third place is Haley Marion. How does Haley get to play in 2 divisions? That's weird. Is there like 2 people? This is my first time looking at this, but Haley Marion wins the 14 and under and gets third in the 16 and under.
Sure.
Okay. Well, why not?
Why not?
All right. And then for the 18 and under girls, Ariana Lynch gets first place. Sophia Mast again. So apparently you can play in multiple divisions. Interesting. Gets second place, and Tiana Zhang gets third. All right. So the 14 and under boys, Harry Lehnan. Is Harry Lehnan? Is that the guy that might be the guy that Demetrius has been working with? I'm not sure if that might be that, because Demetrius is playing. They can play up a division, so you can actually play in 2. So good thing Troy's here. His kids were freaking monsters in these tournaments when they were playing, so he would know. And actually, Troy, you would know. Is this the Harry from the Twin Cities? And then Kyle Yee gets second place, and third place goes to Connor McFadden. Fourth place is Nico Conkel. That's a cool name. Nico. If I ever had a kid, I'm going to name him Nico. That's a cool name. All right. The 16 and under boys. Landon Hollinsworth finishes first place over Joey Tate. Joey Tate's going to be a monster. Third place goes to Lazaro Martinez III, and fourth goes to Gabriel Martinez. And for the 18 and under boys, Landon Hollinsworth gets first place over Riley Atkins. Third place goes to Eric Roberts, and fourth place goes to Daniel Martin. So good for all of these players. We wanted to give the kiddos a highlight because that's awesome. The kid that Demetrius has been training did win that. That's pretty awesome. Good for Demetrius. Good for him. So I guess I wanted to give a highlight to the kiddos of the next generation. Let's give them some airtime. And go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, my shout out. I want to give a shout out to Jennifer Beretta. She posts on Facebook to her thousands of fans and friends on Facebook. She's been doing this for a while. What's that?
And admirers and stalkers.
Those two, yeah. And but she does these little drills, and a lot of stuff is like she's been doing some two rail shots where she'll pocket a ball, go two rails, and then hit a specific spot on the rail, up the table, on the long rail, all the way to the corner pocket, and then over on the short rail. And the last one I saw was the same shot. It's about a 40-degree cut into a corner, only this time it was with reverse English. And she goes up the table on the other side of the table and does the same thing. Hits every single ball on a long rail, pockets a ball in the corner, and then hits a couple balls on the short rail. I think this is tremendous for pool. It not only the pocketing of the ball that she does every time, but that control, that kind of control of the cue ball is just exceptional. So I'm going to shout out to her for that, for doing this. I think it's all skill levels can see this and take something away from this positively.
Her videos are
I'd
actually
like
really
to see
good.
her do. In three cushion, when you go to a training aid or a book or whatever, they'll diagram the shot out, and then they'll have a picture of a cue ball, and they'll have a spot on the cue ball where the tip needs to be placed. I would like to see her add that graphic to these videos so that each time she hits that shot and that cue ball goes to the right spot where I want to see her changing of that tip on the cue ball. Either a camera shot from behind her to visually see it, and add a graphic picture in the corner to like a cross pattern on the cue ball, just where she's hitting that, to get that kind of control. For me personally, I'd like to see that. So if I was going to do that drill, I would have an idea to start with, where to put the tip to get that to go there.
There's a lot of people.
Shout out, Jennifer. Way to go. Keep it up. Keep doing it.
There are a lot of people.
Don't say it, Nate. Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Mike's
Let
in trouble.
Yes, that view, a lot of people would appreciate, Rob. Just
yeah, you had to go there with that, didn't you? Of course.
Well, we'll just say there's a lot of people with suggestions on how she can make her videos better. That is the most innocent of them.
Right. Yeah. But I'm talking about pool
Jennifer
here.
does a really good job.
Jennifer actually crushes it. I don't know if she does the videos herself. I'm guessing that she has somebody that does the videos.
No, I don't know.
She doesn't?
She kills it though. The whole thing, she kills it. Yeah.
Yeah, she does.
Everything
sure.
about
I don't
it
care if they're split together and she has to shoot that shot how many times to get it, and replay it all together like that and splice it all together. It doesn't really matter. It's so good. It's such a good thing for pool all the way around. I just love it.
Absolutely, it is. It's just so interesting to the average fan, right?
Yep.
For sure.
It helps.
It simplifies it too.
Yeah. It helps that she's extremely beautiful, but she creates an insane amount of hype for her videos, man. And they're getting viewed. They are getting viewed by a lot of people.
Oh, I'm sure.
Each one of these is getting like thousands and thousands of views, which is
Oh, yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, we got Rob set up a TikTok just to go and sweat it.
Right? Yeah. Good on you, pal. Here's I'll post this out there. This is her Instagram where she posts all of them. They're I mean, yeah, here's one. Like the one I think you're talking about right now, Rob, has I mean, I don't know how many views it has. I don't know how to check that, but there's 17 or almost 1,800 reactions to it.
Oh,
which is insane.
That's pretty good. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's only 3 days. So like, we're not talking about like views. We're talking about reactions. I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And for what I'm seeing on here, that actually does have a cue ball on them, Rob. A couple of these do.
Nate was
okay.
about
The last one I saw,
man.
I didn't see a cue ball on it, but
You always keeping me in line, Mike. I appreciate you.
Hey, man.
All right. So, yeah, I guess, Rob, what else you got?
Well, there was Mike Gaines mentioned last week. He'd like to hear some tips for the average player. We did that a couple years ago. We used to have
We had a 2-tip segment.
Yeah, where you'd give a tip and I'd give a tip, and
I think Mike even partook in that a couple times.
Yeah, he just said not that we're anything special to be giving tips, but from looking from the bottom up, we could probably give a few tips.
Yeah.
Oh
man!
Last night I just went to this league thing, right, and I'm noticing the beginner players and what they're doing, and I saw this gal and she had ball in hand with one ball left and the 8 ball, okay, and that ball that was left on the table went in 5 pockets easily, and she put the cue ball in a place where she had to actually force follow the cue ball to kind of get position. And she made the shot and everything, but she didn't get position. So, and I'm thinking, if I was going to give anybody a tip, I'd say, you want to play pool, right? The object is to make more than one ball at a time. One at a time you can make, but I mean make consecutive balls. In 8 ball, it'd be to run 7 and then the 8. In 10 ball, run all 10 balls. You know, it's that thing. In one pocket, make 8 shots in the same pocket.
8 now.
Do that. You really have to think, where do I want the cue ball to go? You watch Jennifer Beretta's videos. I mean, she gets it to go right where she wants it to go and pockets the ball. Well, if I have any tip at all to give to a beginner player, somebody who just out there in league having fun, fooling around with their friends, but wants to get better, you got to be able to visualize in your head where the cue ball is going to go with no English on it, hitting center ball after you pocket the ball. And if you can't do that, you have to find somebody that can help you understand that.
And hold yourself accountable to it. So actually make a prediction on where it's going to be, find out where it ends up, and find out why you were off.
One of the fellas he's almost a 700 Fargo was in the league last night, and I talked to him a lot about this. And he says what happens is these players, they don't even know if they can make the shot, much less think about where the cue ball is going to go after that.
That's how I feel.
Yeah. Oh, there's Mike. Yeah.
That's how Mike and I feel.
Here we go.
I'll tell you, I actually got to play a little pool against Mike. Mike hit some pretty good. We played a couple of games of banks against each other. He hit some good.
Oh, bank player. Nice.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about
Banker, Mike, you got to play a little one.
I got
banker.
Listen, I got a lot of experience spearing them into the rail. Let's put it like that. All right, a lot of experience putting them into the rail. No, but you hit the nail on the head. But you know what, Rob? Just to kind of follow up on what you're saying, go watch Oscar and Omar play and see the respect they give to where they want the cue ball afterward. Go and watch Fedor play in the Arizona event or any event for that matter, any game. He's not just looking about pocketing the ball. He's looking at where he wants that ball next, what angle he wants, which side of the object ball he wants to go and get on. He gives it the respect it deserves, whether he's on no shot clock or he's on a 25-second shot clock. He's doing the same thing every single time, and that's the way it ought to be done. That's the way you ought to go and learn. And even the guys who can get there at the highest of highest levels, the 1% of 1%ers, they're still doing it that way.
Right. The basics, the the things you need to do to succeed shot by shot by shot.
Become a machine.
Absolutely.
Well, that'd be
For
nice.
sure.
Yep. I don't know. Am I supposed to give a tip? Should I give a tip?
Yeah, let's have a tip, Nate.
Take 2 weeks off, then quit.
Take up knitting.
That applies in a lot of different areas.
No, all right. I'll actually. I mean, the biggest thing we kind of touched on a little bit here, but get yourself in a position where you're doing the same thing every single time. I mean, at the end of the day, pool is not a game like golf. There is no different shots. There's no different swings. There's really the same exact swing that you repurpose with speed and control of the cue ball, right? So the idea is golf, your putting and your driving are completely different mechanical swings. A break and a roll-in pocket speed shot is the same mechanics, really, in pool. There's really very little difference between them. You can make them different, of course, and some people do. But the idea is most of your swings are going to be the exact same. So the people who get good at the game are the people who are able to find ways to literally practice the same thing over and over and over and over again. You got to get good at doing the same thing over and over.
See what Mike says? You can't keep giving me the same stuff.
Oh yeah, I've been telling him that. He's one of my students. So
Take 2 weeks off.
Yeah, I mean, I've been telling him that since he started working with me like a year and a half ago. But no, I mean, the people who get good at this game are the people who are good at recreating the same exact thing over and over and over again. So
when you look at, I see Tyler. I had a center to edge aiming thing with Tyler one day. I spent 8 hours with him, and if there's anything that aiming system does for you, it is prepare you to pocket the ball. That's what it does. Mentally and physically prepares you to succeed in pocketing the ball.
It forces you into like a pre-shot routine.
It does.
Yeah.
If you just think it, you never have to practice it. You just think it and you will do it.
Yeah.
What the brain sees, the body follows and does. And that's what I took away from it. And it definitely improved my game. At my age, to have my game improve a little, that was a big deal.
Yeah, I don't know too many people that are in their hundreds that are still improving. So good on you, pal.
What a dig.
Yeah. No more gel for me today. I'll tell you that.
No, you just need that the buffer. You need that turtle wax to shine that thing up. No, so that'll be my advice: is just take a 5-minute video of you running out 2 racks or just shooting balls, and watch the video back. Don't even look at whether or not you're making the shots. Don't look at what you're doing as far as on the table. Just watch your mechanics at the table. Watch the way that you're addressing every shot. And if you can visually look at yourself playing for 5 minutes and start picking out different types of mechanics for different types of shots, or even that none of them are the same, you definitely need to put some work into really smoothing everything out and figuring out the same exact swing for
That's
every
a good
single
idea.
shot.
I think everybody can do that with a smartphone nowadays.
Very easy to do, yeah. And it's going to be one of the biggest helps, because at the end of the day, if you're gonna shoot a jump shot, let's say you're going to shoot a 3-point shot. If you watch Steph Curry when he's in a wide open 3, of course, when he's not developing it. Klay Thompson's a better example for all the basketball fans out there. Watch the way that guy takes a 3-pointer. Watch 300 of them. None of them will look different. I mean, unless he's like literally like jacking up a last second shot at the shot clock. He looks the same on every single shot. He jumps the same way. He releases at the same point in his jump. His follow through is the same. Everything will look the same. And pool is a lot of the same thing. I mean, you're changing your speed that you're hitting it, but you really should not look any different. You shouldn't be doing anything vastly different besides, maybe, for a soft shot you'll go to here and here. For a harder shot, maybe you'll go here to here, right? So I'm going to punch the microphone. But really, you should not be changing anything in your mechanics drastically. So that's an easy thing to do. Just take 5 minutes, record yourself, and see if you can see yourself doing different things.
Yeah. The first time I played Danny Olson a few years back in a tournament in Minnesota, and the thing I noticed right from the very first rack was his mechanics. I just went, wow! It's just the flow of the mechanics. Even you'd think the flow is in the game, right? Ball to ball. his flow is in his approach to his position before he shoots. And it was like, well, Jimmy Wedge played. I mean, seriously, back when he was playing, it was a tremendous thing to watch from a technical perspective on the game, of their approach to their position on the table to stroke the ball. It was just super smooth and always exactly the same.
Yep.
No matter what the shot was.
Yep. Mike, do you want to give a tip? You want to be 3 tips?
No. No, I'm not qualified to give technical advice like you boys, but I will say, and this is something where I have a shortcoming in, is just be a better person on the table. Handle yourself with class, and like the Oscars and Omars of the world, whether you're winning or you're losing. I know I can get frustrated whenever I play, and it's not so much of my opponent at all. It's more of just kind of like, I get frustrated whenever I miss, and I expect to go and make it. But no matter what, whether you're sitting down or you're standing up or whatever, just handle yourself better. We all have opportunities we can go and do better in that field, I feel. So, and I'm gonna try to do that. So
Rob, here's a good question for you. Why does he start out by saying he's not qualified and then just like crap on us by giving the best advice you can give? Why does he got to do stuff? Why does he got to throw that disclaimer on if he's just going to crap on us?
He hasn't.
Now he's
leave it up there, boys.
And now he's dunking on us.
Yeah. Right.
Man,
that's
I'm just gonna leave it right here. Just gonna leave it right there.
Some type of a pool players complex, I guess. I don't know.
So
all I know is Mike's got some enthusiasm that needs to be shared, and this is a good format to do that. So,
well,
I applaud.
Absolutely, preach to him.
I think that's a good thing to take away from this. It doesn't have to be from pool, just in life. I mean, there's so much hatred out there. Quit being a shit person.
Right. Hey, what's wrong with being kind to people? Where did that go?
Quit getting in Facebook arguments, telling everybody how stupid they are. Quit sitting in the chat room blasting on people. Quit blocking people just because they don't want to give you 14 games on the wire.
Hey, listen. Sometimes I just get on tilt and I just start handing out blocks like I'm Oprah. Okay, everybody gets a block. All right,
you get a block. You get a block.
Everybody's getting blocked today.
Yeah.
No, but
well,
we gotta be better.
You talked
better
about
people.
being a shithead earlier in the podcast. I have got, I don't know, I'm going to say a dozen broken ribs over 40 years for being a shithead. So there's a direct correlation physically with being a shithead.
I feel like most of those
in a pool game. Trust me.
I feel like most of those are from playing Duncan or something like that. You're trying to stop him when he plays and he just swings a cue at you or something. Rob has this thing where like it doesn't matter who he's playing, he has to talk to you from start to finish, and it's not like, hey, that's a great shot, why did you shoot it this way? It's like, hey, did you see the news last night? What do you think about that? Let's talk about your feelings. Like he wants to get you up on the armchair and like psycho interrogate you or something like that. It's crazy. Like he will not shut up when he plays against you. He will make sure that he talks to you every waking second.
Gamesmanship, boys.
Story. And you mentioned Duncan. One time I'm in a match in a tournament playing this fella, and he actually asked me when he was up to shoot if I could leave the room while he's shooting. Not just leave the table, but leave the room.
Hey, get the hell out of here, he said. Listen, I enjoy that guy's honesty and directness because that takes a lot of balls just in it by itself, right? Can you just do me a favor? Just get the hell out of here whenever I'm about to hit the ball, please. Please, Rob.
I was pretty quiet after that. I said, okay, I hear you, finally, And I'm sitting there chewing on my fingers and
trying not to talk.
I'm learning a lot about you right now.
I think if you did that to me, Rob, I think I'd just turn around and be like, hey, Rob, you want to play a game? You say yes. And I was like, let's see who can hold their breath the longest. You start. And then just duct tape right there. Yeah.
I can remember when I owned a pool hall for a while, a guy walks in just new to town and he starts playing and I watch him a little bit and I'm going, God, he's pocketing those balls pretty good. And I went over and sat down and he's doing his thing, and I can see this thing on his wrist. He's got this. Let me get my picture. Oh yeah, he curls his hand underneath, right, like this.
Chad Lund does that.
Yeah, well, whatever. Yeah, and one of them, and his stroke is like crooked. It's nothing, but the balls are going in. And so I sit back, I watch him for about 15 minutes. I said, "Hey, hey, John." I said, "You know that if he looked over at me and he goes, 'How much you want to play for? Let's do it.'" He didn't want to hear anything I had to say about the way his form is or anything else. He just says, "You're going to tell me how to play? Let's put some money down and play."
Sounds like
I like that guy.
Yeah,
He's my kind of guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now he's the president of the
Wisconsin Billiard Hall of Fame. Yeah.
All right, we're wrapping up. We're done. We're at the point where we're just
real
talking
quick, Nate. I want to just thank you for all your help with the raffles we've been doing with the handshake jump queue. We've gotten a lot of ladies to go and share, and a lot of guys also, which has been great. It's been very helpful, and we're about halfway to our goal. So just everyone who's jumped in, we appreciate it. So thank you.
You still got more
And
of
you
those to
especially,
do?
Nate. Thank you for all your help. Yeah. I'll probably try to do it at the end of the week, but we're good right now. So we appreciate it. I just want to let you know.
Yep, tag me on it. We'll help you out. We'll get some sharing out there. So, all right, everybody, thanks for tuning in. If you made it to this point, you are, I don't know, awesome, I guess.
The real MVP.
Yeah, you guys are the champs. So. All right, Rob, thanks again, buddy. Mike, as always, it's a pleasure.
Great, fellas.
We'll see everybody. We'll see everybody next week on probably Tuesday.
Later, boys.
Yep.
Next week, pool fans.
All right. See you guys later. Hey everyone, thanks again for listening. If you've liked what you've heard and you want to contribute to the future content that will be made, consider joining the podcast's Patreon at www.patreon.com/QItUp. Becoming a Patreon of the podcast will help to create all of the future content that the podcast will have. Special shout out to Dave Peters, Aaron Taylor, Pete Silsby, Morgan Lupton, Ben Young, Robert Miller, Andy Morse, and Bill Pelham for your generous contributions to the podcast's Patreon. If you ever need any more information on what the Patreon system is, or how you can contribute outside of the Patreon, please reach out to the podcast or Nate himself. If you would like to contribute to the podcast for free, consider sharing any podcasts or the podcast page on Facebook itself. Also, leaving a review and a rating if you listen through iTunes. It helps others find the podcast. Thank you for listening, and we'll be back soon with another episode of the Q It Up podcast.